So first of all, let's. Can you give us the give me the your short introduction of the what you're doing, what are you the business doing, and then what is your Go Global strategy from probably Mar? Yeah.
I'm More from Jelly Button Games. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO. Our main business is casual free-to-play games. Our first hit is Pirate King, which is currently has around 50 million of downloads till today, and we're still going global. This is more or less. You want to talk? What do you want to talk?
Well, how about the Go Global stuff? Is you're trying to go global, or we should talk later?
Yeah,
okay.
I think so.
Let's talk later. Okay, Massimo.
Hi everybody, my name is Massimo, although everybody called me Max, easier.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Much easier. I'm the co-founder and CEO of MusicsMatch. MusicsMatch is the world's largest database of lyrics. I'm not a singer, unfortunately. And we have so far more than 50 million downloads everywhere. And thanks for inviting me.
All right. Thank you. Andres?
I'm Andres. I'm CEO and co-founder of Social Point. We are a gaming company based in Barcelona, so we are most known because of Dragon City and Monster Legends. And to give you some numbers, Dragon City has been downloaded more than 150 million times. So, and we are quite global also.
You?
Hey, 1, 2. Hello.
Hello.
Does the mic work?
Is that okay?
Hi.
Working.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah. Cheers.
Hello. Hello, I'm Gil. I lead design at CityMapper. It's a transport app specifically built for the city. So we take all the crazy data that's out there, try to make sense for it, and build and design a product around it, basically for you to get to find out how to get from A to B. We're currently live in 30 cities and 10 countries. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Regina. I lead Google Play BD for Latin America, especially Brazil and Mexico, and it's a pleasure to be here.
All right. So let's get started discussions. But I'd like to make more like interactive the session here. So I will shoot the one questions to you guys, then making them more interactions, then ask the audience to have, if you have any questions, then please jump in. All right. So first of all, I would like to ask about what is your global strategy actually? Then what is your challenge in the global market? If you go into there, then what's your challenge? What was your challenges? Okay, from Gil.
I mean, basically, as you can probably imagine, we're very localization is the key thing we had to figure out. Our strategy has always been to localize the product very heavily. So whenever we launch a city, we hand design all the transport icons. We travel a lot to the cities. We have people taking care of specifically one city. So also culturally, it's been always the humor, the kind of tone of the app. Also, when we localize strings, it's very important to really understand the local tone and kind of. We partly solve that by hiring people that speak the language and come from these regions. So it's kind of an in-house sort of. That's when it gets the most natural. When
native check. Native check in your company.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, I'll go for.
Go ahead.
For us, localization it's everything, because when we talk about music and lyrics, we're talking about a huge space. To provide you some numbers, the number of unique tracks, music track in the world, unique, so that they are unique in any, just once in an album, it's around 4 million. Out of that, 60% of them are, you know, mainly English track. But then there's a huge long tail with Spanish, Chinese, Japanese, Indian, Portuguese, Italian, German, French, and whatever. So we have actually, in our, you know, database, we do cover, we have to cover. So for us, the localization is a kind of must. I mean, we do cover more than 80 different languages in terms of content. So the challenge for us is MusicMatch is a crowdsourced platform. So, I mean, the more we grow in a country, the more, you mentioned Japan before. Japan, it's been incredibly important for us because the more we were growing there, the more the Japanese users were adding the content. So we give the power to the users to add and localize the content. Without that deep, so what I want to share is that if you run an app, I mean a content inside your app, whatever you do, from lyrics, whatever, your content must be localized, must be offered, which doesn't mean, as you said, just translate your app. You have the issue of offering your local content. Brazilian, typically, they like certain kind of, you know, music, different from German people, and like, you know, and US different from Japanese people. So for us, it's really a must to get the local content, plus ensuring the local rights, because we pay rights holder in every single place of the world, you know. But, you know, I must say that it's kind of key challenge and strategy for us. Without that, we couldn't really, I mean, be present in any country, you know. Like for us, being in Japan without having Japanese, you know, lyrics, it's kind of.
So first you publish your application, then you don't localize to Japanese, right?
I mean, in general, we don't.
I mean the application and store listing.
I mean, we don't localize it immediately. Application. Also, you know, back to how to localize the application. You know, our you know goal is we empower the user to translate the app.
Okay. Yeah, the contents.
Yeah, the content, and also the app itself. I mean, when they complain, they said, "Can you help us?" So that's been extremely important too, you know, besides using, you know, the app, some, you know, translation tool that you offer. But we let them adding local content, you know.
Okay.
So I think that's very important to empower your user and get suggestion from your user. And then, you know, we try to listen to any of them, I mean, by analyzing data. I think all of you guys mentioned a lot of things you can do with Google Analytics. I think that's a key resource for us, you know.
Okay.
I mean, analyzing continuously data, you know, from any single country.
Okay.
I'm selling
So
it.
I would like to move on
We have a
the
little
game
bit-
side.
Yeah, we have a little, I will share a little bit different
Then-
aspect that we are having.
I have
So-
questions for the game side.
All
so
right.
I had a talk about the culturalize or you know the going to market with culturalize or just localizations. Then I would like to ask them more and Andres about how do you think about you like to go with original APK in localized language or separate APK to that
Okay.
market?
So first of all, I think that everybody wants to go global. It's all about the efforts, focus, and of course market potential and cost. CPIs are getting extremely high. So as an early developer, you have to be really focused and you really have to put a lot of attention in that. So I would say, as when we started Pirate King, for us, we had to think like strategy-wise how to reduce the barrier of localization, because it was a very early stage company and game developer, and we could not afford a lot of money and a lot of marketing, of course, expenses into going global.
So save the budget first.
Have to if you're an early developer. So what we really believed is like focus on the product and as much as you can and make it seamless and a beautiful experience from the product side. So I would recommend for like everybody would want to see, there is a beautiful lecture of George Fan, which is the creator of Plants vs. Zombies. It's a little bit 2010, but it's a beautiful lecture about how he convinced his mom to play Plants vs. Zombies. And we're really inspired, of course, by PopCap and a lot of beautiful process they made there. And there he speak about a lot of how to make this process of first engagement and localization. He has many tricks and very beautiful things. And even not to use more than 8 words, pop-ups. And we understood that if we're an early stage developer, we have to use as much as trick as we can. And we got really inspired from this process. So in Pirate, we embedded those processes. Later on, of course, we built this strategy with the Google Play team, and of course with our marketing team. And gradually, we started we're located in Tel Aviv, Israel. So we started in Israel, and then we started to grow in Singapore, in Malaysia, and Thailand, and all around Southeast Asia without localizing or culture. People told us you cannot get into Thailand without localizing or culturalizing. And we said we believe that the product is everything, and we believe that we can bring this experience to our users. So in our tipping point, like in our top, it was 450,000 of installs a day, only from Southeast Asia, and 70% of that was Google. And
You localize the languages?
Nothing.
No?
Nothing. We only localized
Nothing,
the
just
stores.
publish it in the English?
Yes. And we a little bit localized the stores. We used a lot of content community strategy. We worked really close, of course, with the Play team, very focused on that strategy. And then combining it both, it was very, very strong. So as an early developer in return, it's really important to be very focused on what you can do comparing to the market, to the efforts, and then you can combine it to a beautiful strategy. And now that we're launching Going Global, now that we can afford going global, you really have to, again, focus on the emerging markets. And of course, we're aiming to Latin America and the US and, of course, Europe. So for us, this journey was very strong.
Cool. How about the Andres?
For us, we always launch the games globally. So we check the boxes of all the countries around the world.
Okay.
No? And then we launch always with one single API because it's easier for us to manage it. And then depending on the results that we see on the KPIs, retentions, monetization, all the KPIs, it's when we start to doing special focus on some markets. So apart from the core mechanics from the game, we change many, many other things. We change the Play Store art, we change the title of the game, we market, so we do special marketing actions for each market, quite different from one to another. Obviously, we translate with local partners. We change the icon, so we have different price points for some markets. And also we do some live ops or some offers that are different from one market to another.
You have the office outside of the Barcelona?
What?
Do you have an office outside of the Barcelona?
We are opening an office in Tokyo, so it's not.
Okay.
We don't have anyone physically there.
Okay.
But we have Social Point Tokyo company there. But
Okay.
we are willing to grow there.
Okay. So we have only 5 minutes. So do we have any question between the panelists? If we don't have, then let's move on to ask the audience. Do we have any questions each other? No? No. Okay. Let's move on to ask the audience. Any question to the panelists? Or you can ask any questions. Okay.
I have a question for you guys. With changing icons globally, like for localized markets, do you guys ever worry about keeping a consistent brand for your developer company? Is this something you guys have dealt with?
You mean changing the brand?
Yeah, if you change the icon, it could obviously change the perception of the brand if it's not tied to your brand.
Like specifically for that reason, we didn't touch the icon because it is part of the brand. But what we use A/B testing a lot for is the screenshots, and so we do a lot of A/B testing on that. But the icon, I think, at least in our case, maybe for games it's a bit different. But for being a utility app, I think the icon is too much part of the brand. Yeah. but I do wish I could, kind of, because I would be curious if there were strong effects if we change the icon, but haven't gone there.
In my case, I remember one example that really scared me. We use screenshot with of the app, which recalls the album's art. So in that case, we had a Katy Perry images. Obviously, all these things we pay the rights for, and she was in a bikini, and but it was not offending picture. We got tons of complaints, by I remind Arabian users, and this was not anything we even planned, and neither how could you plan, how could you think you can really offending people? So at that point, we started doing A/B tests with all the screenshots, and we saw, these going much better. I think it's like, when you go in a country you don't know, there might be something that in terms culturally different, and this depends, country by country, so you have to deep, understand, but you should ask your users, since you're growing so fast, I would always ask users, get feedback from them,
And then A/B testing.
A/B testing. Another thing is very useful, I think, which we should all be thankful to Google. It's the beta testing. I say we have like 15,000 beta. I say we have 15,000 employees for free. People testing your app immediately since you release and providing you feedback. That's kind of amazing. But not all apps are using that.
For us, we have changed the icon. For example, Monster Legends, we have changed the icon between, for Japan, we had one specific icon, or for Europe or the US, we have other icons. And also we have changed the icon inside the same region. So, for example, now we launched a new version of the game that we have alliances, and we changed the icon from the previous one to a new one. But when we do these kind of changes, we are worried about the brand, and it's a good point. So we try to maintain the essence of the icon, keeping the core of the icon, and adding a loop saying to the users, hey, there is something new in the game, or, So we take care of the brand, making changes on the icon, but carefully.
All right. One question here.
Hi, thanks. I'm Alexis from Republic Labs. A question maybe more for More and Andres. The price localization part, how important is it, the price localization? For example, I'm thinking of a country like Latin America where maybe certain games have a hard time monetizing. Do you see a really important effect on not just on revenues, but also maybe on retention? And as part of that, if you have a multiplayer game, which is your case, do you see maybe players kind of communicating and complaining, hey, I'm paying this in the US and you're paying that, and how risky is that?
We have not seen that users complaining from one region to another. So what we normally do, for example, LATAM, it's 20% of our DAU, and it's 4% of our revenues. And if you check the payments, the type of payments that they have there, it's totally different to what we have in Europe or to what we have in the US. So we have done changes on pricing. We have seen improvements from 10 to 25% in some regions and some markets. So I would say it's important to adapt the prices. I wouldn't do it at the beginning. I would launch the game, see which is the DARPU, the RPPU that we are seeing, and then do improvements to try to boost revenues by 10, 15, 20% in those countries.
Just to add here, I think we've been actually doing some pricing experiments in the region, and definitely this is something new in the emerging markets. I'm not talking only for Brazil and Latin America, but all the emerging markets. Google actually is investing quite a lot. We are putting not only the technology there, but really people there. We are spending consumer market. We are really educating these users to buy digital goods. We are not in Japan, that people are used to buy digital goods, or US or UK. these people are just learning how to use smartphones and engage with digital goods or games or apps. So we need actually to educate that. We just launched local forms of payments in Brazil and Mexico, for instance. So until last year, we didn't have, only international credit cards were accepted in the store. So this is something that it's a big effort that we've been doing, not only in Latin America, but all the emerging markets. And we're going to be pushing that and educating the users. But I definitely believe changing prices specifically for some markets are important. It's very hard for you because there are a lot of markets, no? So I would recommend maybe prioritize, okay, what is my maybe 20% of the installments are coming for that market. Is there a market there that I have to explore? And if yes, try to find out what is the right pricing point, or what are using actually, what is the user behavior at that market to really build your strategy. But this is something that we're gonna be investing quite a lot in the next months and years. And if you think that most of these emerging markets, like 80% is Android, it's a big thing. So this is, we are really working to make sure that users understand that they can consume in the store. I think is our approach.
Right.
Also, apart from pricing, I mean, we have some more time or not?
We need to finish that. But, you know, if you have any comment, then you can.
No, I know Alexis, so I can
Okay.
chat with him
Then,
later on.
You know, ask him that later. So, all right. So, thank you for joining us. Then, okay, let's finish the Go Global sessions. But if you have any questions, then please reach out to us. Then ask the questions. All right. Thank you, and then thank you, and then give the big applause to the panelists.